If you've been watching the SEO audits, SEO evaluations on our channel, you should be starting to be familiar with us talking about the same things, and that's because these things work. Unfortunately, people, businesses can get a little bit nervous working with SEOs and businesses that are going to get them better rankings and more traffic because they just don't understand the process. So in this video, I want to take you through the process that we use with clients. So if you came to us as a potential client, this is the process that we talk you through. If you just want to have a conversation with us, feel free to get in contact. The details are down in the description. And if you're going to talk to somebody else, hire a different company, then at least with this video, you will have learned a few things that you need to ask and be aware of, and they should be talking about with you. If they're not, or they don't have any clue about these things, then that might be a red flag to you. So as you've heard us talk about in these SEO evaluations, what we do is we're looking for certain key aspects in the homepage. That's the first thing we're going to go away and we're going to analyze, because that gives us a really good indication of what's going on the rest of the website. Now, we're going to start off by doing some keyword research, because obviously if you come to us, we might not know a huge amount about your area or your business. We obviously, being Salem communities, we know a lot about Salem and SEO there, but the ideas we cover in our videos will work for any particular location. You just have to cut out the location Salem Oregon and swap it out in for wherever you are. And the same with the industry, just swap out the niche or industry we're looking at for your own. So we start off with doing some very basic keyword research, being able to find out where the traffic is coming from in terms of keywords. So for example, landscape gardening, Salem, Oregon, we know gets a high search volume. We talked about that in a previous video. So we would do some quick research, find out what's ranking and what's not. And then we do some keyword analysis on your site and see if the keywords that are actually getting traffic, you are ranking for. 90% of the time, maybe more than that, we see that businesses are ranking really well for their business name, but they're not ranking very well for keywords that actually bring in the traffic. And although it's nice to rank for your business name, most of the time people are searching your business name, they're already a warm lead. They've been referred to you by somebody else. They said, oh, check out so-and-so, they can help you with X, Y, or Z. So they're typing in your contact details in order to be able to find your telephone number or email or something like that. So we want to cross-reference these. We'll then go through your website. We'll look at your meta tags, meta description, H1 tags, images. These are all the kind of things that when you search for a business and you look on the homepage, you see sort of that writing in blue and the description underneath. And we'll just make sure that we know what keywords you've got there and what needs to change, because these are things that Google puts a lot of weight on, especially on the homepage. We'll then look at your content, see how well it's developed and see where the gaps are. Do you have good silo, which means do you have those drop down headings you see on a website? How much content have you got the homepage? Is it rich for keywords? Which keywords and keyword phrases are you currently ranking for? And then we'll look at your speed as well. Speed on mobile especially is a big ranking factor, and most people that want to work with you are probably looking up on their mobile. They're trying to get a telephone number so they can give you a call, or your email address. So a lot of the times we find that the bulk of traffic is coming from mobile when it comes to hiring local businesses, local services, especially sort of in the home services niche. So we would want to make sure that we know what your web speed is, how quickly things are loading. Is your website optimized for mobile, so that we can know if we've got to focus on that. So we would go through a whole evaluation, take a look at your website. As I said, if you watch those videos on the channel, our SEO audits, you'll be able to see us going through that exact process, what we would do sort of in that first 5-10 minutes of getting a snapshot for your business. We would obviously, as a paying client, if you came to us, you hired us, if that's what you decided to do, we would do this in a lot more in depth, and we would be able to create a report for you, and that would kind of be like a snapshot. So you'd know exactly where your website is, like a baseline reading of your website. And then any work that we would do would be measured off that baseline, meaning that you'd be able to see the results, and we'd be able to show you the results that you're getting as you work with us and as we develop your website, because we've taken that baseline. Again, if you're going to hire another company, that's absolutely fine. Go for it, but make sure they're doing that for you as well. You want to know what your baseline data is, and they should be able to provide that for you very quickly, so that when you hire them, when you pay them, you can talk to them. They should be sending you reports. We send reports out every 30 days. That's what we would do if you hired us. We'd give you a report every 30 days so you could see how metrics were changing. So what we tend to do in the first month, and again, this could change from website to website. For example, if you came to us a client and you said, you know what, my website looks really old, I would like to get that updated first, then that's fine. We will 100% prioritize that for you. But this is kind of an overview of what we do in the first month. So the first thing we would do is we would sort out your press release. A press release is quite a complicated thing to do because first of all, we need to do some research so that we know about your business. Do we want to relate the press release to a service or a product or something in the news, something within your company? We need to get it written. It has to be written in a certain way. And then we need to make sure that it goes to the right outlets, because there's no point doing a press release for a business in Salem, Oregon, and it goes out to New York, because you're not going to get the right kind of exposure. You're not going to get links to local websites, and you're not going to get traffic from those local websites, which could be potential clients and customers. We want all the traffic to come from the local area, because that tells Google then that this website is for this local area. So press release, if you're going to get somebody to do one for you, just make sure that they ticked all those boxes. We then do citations. This is basically just your website name, address, contact details online. We're going to get these pushed out to lots of different places. We need to get the format correct, because it's got to be the same everywhere, because Google is just a computer program. It's a very powerful one, but if you have limited written different ways, like the word and then LTD, and then maybe you put a full stop in there, or LLC, then if you've got that different places all over the web, then Google doesn't necessarily know that they are meant to be all the same. So we need to clean things up a bit, and we need to start building out your citations. And again, these need to be good quality citations for your location, for your country. Then we're going to go through the homepage and we're going to optimize it, which will probably be some restructuring. Going back, anything we found to do with these meta tags and the H1 tags, alt tags are to do with the images, we would start to clean those up. We would then start to put some homepage content up. If you've listened to my previous videos, 1,000, 2,000 words is what we're aiming for, so we start to produce that. And any issues to do with web speed, we would start to look at those as well. So we're just making sure that the foundations are built correctly. We want the traffic mainly coming into the homepage initially. So they're the main things that we'd work on in month one. When we go on to month two, then we would just continue some of what we've done before. So you can see we're building out more citations. Homepage content would be published. Website optimization would continue, because you might not have a sitemap. We might want to make the phone number that you have clickable, so people on mobile can just click it and they can get straight through to you and book you. There's other things we can do as well. For example, we have automation tools now where if a call comes through to you, we can get it routed straight through to an amazing piece of software. And what that piece of software will do is, if the call goes to voicemail, it will automatically send them a text message, which means if you're on a job and you're dealing with a client and you can't take a phone call and chat to somebody and book them in, what you can do is you can start to text them. The automation will start the text conversation for you, and then you can jump in and you can finish the conversation. You get somebody booked in via text message. And we can do even more than that. That's just a little slice of what we can do with these automations. So we can talk to you about building out those kind of things. We'd also build silos, and your blog silos are kind of like for all your different services. If you go to a website, you've got the drop down of all the different services that you offer. So for example, pest control, you would have all the different pests that you would deal with and the methods that they are dealt with. And then we build that structure out for you. This would all be part of sort of the content mapping that we would do, and just sort of building out that entire infrastructure for your website. So this would also be the point where we're looking at something called topical sitemaps. If you know anything about SEO, if you don't worry, you can jump on a call with us. We'll explain all of this to you. But as you can see, there's a lot going on, a lot of strategy, a lot of thinking about how we're going to build out the whole website, a lot of reorganizing so that everything is optimized and it is done in a way that Google is happy with it, so that you've got more chances of, when we start to build the content, build the links, things ranking. What we'll then start to do is as well start to build out those Web 2.0 links. So Web 2.0 is your social media. So TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of those kind of places. And what we would start to do is look at what you've already got in place and then start to build links out from the website to 2.0, to social media and back again as well. Depending on how much there is to do, as I said, we might move some of these around. This might take 2 months instead. It really depends on how much needs to be done. And that will also depend not on just the state of your website, but what your competitors are doing as well. Because if you think about it, if your competitors are only just ahead of you, then you don't need a huge amount of this work done. If your competitors are way ahead of you, then these things are going to take longer for you to catch them up. Then what we do is we move on to sort of, instead of like an optimization building foundation stage, we move on to more of a growth stage in terms of starting to set up those things that are going to really start to move the needle for you. So they would be continual building of citations. So we'd be doing a few of those each month. It would starting to put keyword rich content up onto your website. So we've already built out the topical map. We know what different topics your website is going to talk about. We know if you're going for a blog, what's going to be in there. So we're going to start putting at least 3,000 words a month onto your website. We normally actually try and aim for way more than that, somewhere between 5,000 to 10,000. But again, this is just an overview. And when we look at your website, if you came to us a client, we could give you a better detail on how much we need to put up. We then continue with the Web 2.0 link building to and from social media. We then start to build out links to other websites as well. Now, the press release will have already started to do that. So we would continue with website link building, finding places where it would be good for your website to be associated with. We might start to do things like guest posting. So get your business to write an article, or we write an article on your behalf about a certain topic, and then we get guest posted on a bigger website, which has a lot more authority, which gets you a link back to your website, and that helps move your website up in authority as well. And then we start doing internal linking as well. So as we start to build out these pages, again, if I go for pest control, we'd have all those different methods of pest control, and we could start linking between those pages, link back to the home page. It's done in a very strategic way, but what that allows us to do is it allows Google to see that these pages are not isolated, it's all connected, and that all goes with the topical map and the site map of the website as well. And just the whole thing works together to build something that's got huge relevance in terms of Google's eyes, huge trustworthiness. Google knows that you're a legitimate business, you know your stuff, your website is full of knowledge, and therefore it can give you more authority because you're showing that you've got that experience and knowledge within your industry. Then from 6 months onwards, things start to get a little bit repetitive in what we're doing. The basis, as I said, has been established. We've got thousands of extra words of content up there. The links are starting to be built in, and we're just going to continue building on that process. So we continue with our content creation, continuing to add words on, maybe not as many words, so we might go quite aggressively at the beginning. And then what we would do is reduce that down a bit potentially. But again, it depends on your website, your niche, your competitors. We'd continue with the link building. That's all of them, the social media links, the website links, and the internal linking. And we would also then start to build in your Google My Business, your GMB, starting to look at that for you if that's a service that you wanted to hire us for. We can start this one earlier. But it's quite nice to get the website built, strong, growing itself, improving in the rankings, and then start to add on the Google My Business as well, because then we can start to look at how the two things can support each other and push to see if we can get you into the 3-pack as well. But as I said, that's something that we can do earlier if that's something that you're interested in. Otherwise, we can just focus on the website and move on to that later. So hopefully that's been really useful for you. You can kind of see what's going on behind the scenes. I think a lot of people think that SEO is just click a few buttons and that's it. But there's a huge amount of strategy that goes on. There's a huge amount of tools that we're using in order to do all of this, and a huge amount of expertise as well, because somebody who's skilled in press releases and writing content will not be the same person that is skilled in web design and optimization and building silos and topical maps. And that was not the same skill set as internal link building. So quite often you've got a team working behind the scenes. You won't always have the same person working on your site at the same time. But what you have is you'd have somebody nominated to lead your site, so a contact person that you would have, and then below them they would have a team of individuals that they would get to work on different bits for you. So one person wouldn't necessarily have all of these skills. They would be specialized in one thing and within a team. So you've got team members that an SEO company, SEO agency needs to pay, and so that's why this ends up being expensive. It's either hundreds, if not thousands of pounds to outsource some of these to, or pay an employee to do this within a team. So as I said, hopefully this is useful. If you have any questions at all, then please feel free to leave us a comment underneath this video. If you want to get in contact with us directly, then you can find our contact details down in the description. Happy to help in any way. Just reach out. You don't have to be a paying client. If you want to talk to us and ask us to have a look at your website, that's fine. If you want a free 5 to 10 minute audit that we publish on this site, then all you've got to do is go to any one of our SEO audit videos. You'll find, I think it's 4 questions in the description of any of those videos. Just answer those 4 questions in the comments of any of those videos. They'll pop up on YouTube. We'll see them and we'll be able to put that free audit up for you. If you want something a little bit more in depth and you want to talk to us directly, like I said, contact details in the description.